It's like we just said goodbye and now we're walking together.
We are live with the ultimate selection Sunday. Always Talking Ball, 3-Tech Pod, Walk-On Redshirts. Guys, I don't have a furnace. I didn't have internet this week. We are dedicated to this. I have a space heater in my office to help keep us going. But we have a selection show that is about to start that we know the committee is going to screw up some way, somehow. Would love to hear where you guys think this is going to go.
Duke should be the 5 seed.
5 seed. Wow.
Okay. Trey. What do you think's going to happen today?
I'm of the opinion that this committee has been cowardly all year, right? Like we've seen that with the Notre Dame Miami decision with the head-to-head. That's not me saying that Notre Dame is not a deserving team. I think in most years Notre Dame would maybe be hosting a playoff game with the resume that they have, but when they're compared, head-to-head with a team that they lost, committee just hasn't been able to pull that trigger this year. I don't think this committee wants to blow up the conference championship paradigm. I think Alabama's going to be in. I think you're going to see them drop to 10 and end up in College Station playing 7 seed Texas A&M.
Yeah,
Tyler, Notre Dame. That's the big one we're sitting here with. Where are you thinking this is going to happen?
Well, if you look at the odds market, I mean, they're 12-1 to make the playoff. I mean, I don't know if that tells you anything or not, but pretty heavily favored to make the playoff there. Honestly, what happened for them yesterday, BYU just getting blown out, that kind of put a little scare into them because they were going to drop behind Miami, but then Alabama just getting blown out. So there's another buffer there between Notre Dame and Miami, the head-to-head, all that good stuff. Everyone wants to talk about that. So I think Notre Dame's in. So I think the last spot it's gonna come down to between Alabama and Miami, in my opinion.
Speaking of Alabama, Lance, we saw it. Alabama could not run the ball yesterday, but they are sitting here on the fringe. I know you have your personal opinions of what you think the committee will do, but let's go.
So I personally think that Alabama should not be left out because, again, I am of the opinion that if your resume is good enough to qualify for your conference championship game and you're already in the field, you should not be knocked completely out of the field by teams that did not have a good enough resume to qualify for their respective conference championship games. And also, too, one team's resume is much better than the other one still was going into conference championship weekend, and it still is better than the other team's resume. But Alabama will have nobody to blame but themselves, though, if they are left out of this, because Tyler and I have talked about this many times on our show, the age-old saying, you don't want to leave it up to someone else and put your fate in someone else's hands. Alabama's performance yesterday was so bad that they now have taken their fate and put it in the committee's hands. And honestly, it's not what I would do. I could absolutely see this committee putting Miami and Notre Dame in this because they say, we all know that we don't know what they're actually doing and what they're not doing, but they say that they wipe the slate.
They don't either.
That
they wipe the slate
clean. They really
clean.
don't know.
Exactly. They say that they wipe the slate clean this week and reevaluate all the teams and their resumes. I have no idea if that's actually what they do or not. Probably, I don't think they do that. But again, Alabama's left it in the committee's hands to where there could be some crazy stuff happen. And if that does end up happening, I do think you will see the current conference championship structure as it is will blow up if that does happen.
Will, ACC, resident Virginia Wahoo fan. It's not looking good for the ACC this year, my guy.
They don't deserve to be in. They really don't. The best team we could put out there to even make the conference championship. Actually, before I start, we're talking about the College Football Playoff Committee, and we've got 3 guys with their hats on. Y'all didn't leave your hats at the door. So you didn't leave your hats on the unbiased hat rack. Okay, so I apologize to everyone listening right now that we have 3 biased members that will not take their hat off. But in all seriousness, the ACC, obviously Clemson didn't do their part. Florida State did not do their part. They had they gave Alabama the first of their bookend bad losses. So we go back to Lance's point talking about why Alabama should or shouldn't be in. The committee only remembers November and then late December or early December. So Virginia, all they had to do was win and get in. Duke has no business even being considered. And if you look, they had, I think, 7 or 8 representatives at these college football playoff locations. Duke is not on there. There's a reason for that. No one actually takes that seriously. I don't even think Jim Phillips takes that seriously, the ACC commissioner. Yet he's out there on Twitter talking about grandstanding that Duke should be in there. They have no business being in there. No business. You lost to UConn, and UConn just danced on your grave this morning by tweeting, "Congratulations to the ACC champs." So the ACC is awful.
Out here dancing on an ACC champion's grave.
Yeah, this is not the world I thought we'd be in. We watched a basketball championship last night, and we watched Virginia absolutely implode. That Virginia team, the first time they played Duke, absolutely annihilated them. All they had to do is win, get in. We're not even having this Alabama or this Miami conversation at this point because Virginia takes up that last spot. Now there is conversation.
They should have marketed that game as a basketball game. I think they would have had a better turnout.
Well, I think they did, and that's why there was only like 20,000 people in the stands because they thought,
all you can fit in a basketball.
Yeah,
right?
You can only fit 20,000 people in here. So, and fun fact, the average ticket price was $25 at the ACC championship game. The average ticket price at the Big Ten championship game was like $500. So, ACC, you played yourself.
Garrett, what do you think happens between Ohio State, Indiana? Indiana's obviously be number 1. Ohio State loses. What do you think that top 4 looks like based off of the results yesterday?
I'm really curious if they actually are going to slide Georgia up, right? I think that's the big thing that we got to consider is, okay, Georgia, you win your conference. Congrats. You finally got the Alabama monkey off your back for a second. Now, do you get rewarded for that, or are we just going to look at the fact that it was 1 versus 2, so we're not going to, drop them down below 3, right? Are we just going to say, hey, Ohio State's 1, they're not going to go all the way down to 3 at this point? If it were me, I would put Georgia at 2. That's just my own personal thing. I don't think that that's, anything bad about Ohio State necessarily. I just have a hard time saying, okay, well, there's a conference champion, then a conference champion runner-up, and then we get another conference champion. I feel like you got to put the SEC and Big Ten champs at 1, 2.
I personally agree.
That takes some milk cheers right here, Garrett. That's some milk cheers for that. Thank you.
Do we think Ole Miss might get sliding down 1 spot because they mentioned the Jordan Travis, the quarterback went out, and now they mentioned that coaching could have a factor with that. Does anyone think that Ole Miss might get, bumped down a spot because of not having their head coach? Yeah, Pete Golding is, already named the head coach, but it's still a different guy running the show than it was all season.
If they truly go with a clean slate, then yes. I mean, if you're assessing the field at this point and they reset like they're saying they're going to do, I think Ole Miss will slide down. I don't think it'll have anything to do with the coaching. I just think if you look at the overall resume, I don't think Ole Miss matches up with the Oregon. They match up with the Texas A&M, Ohio State, who all the one-loss teams that are in front of them. So I think they should slide down, not because of Lane Kiffin leaving, but because they're going to start with a clean slate.
I think that they would have done it last week, right?
Same.
Yeah. I think they would have done it last week if they were going to do that. Now, I don't disagree with you, Moose. Like, we ran the numbers on our show. We had a graphic that went like semi-viral last week after the rankings came out that Ole Miss's resume, if you look at actual objective measures, right? Like the computer rankings, all that good stuff, it doesn't stack up with the other one-loss teams, but the committee doesn't use those numbers. If you haven't noticed, they look at strength of schedule just from a pure wins and losses record. So if you beat 6-6 UTSA, it's a better win statistically than a 5-7 Auburn team. Just throwing 2 examples on A&M's schedule out there. So logic doesn't really exist, but that could work in the favor of somebody that wants to move up to 6 because the logic wasn't there this week. It wasn't there last week, could be there this week. I'm excited to see how they handled that. It could be just a random curveball that we get.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, that requires that the committee have any shred of like integrity or decency or like
we know that they don't have
to do the right thing. But if they had that, it would have changed like all these previous weeks too, right? Like we wouldn't have seen all these other things if they wanted to do the right thing there. And this is the thing that I've continued to say about it. I'm like, you have to remember, this is not about the sport. This is not about who deserves it or who earned it. This is about TV ratings and how you're going to find good matchups. And if they're going to avoid certain matchups because they've already seen it or because they think it's a better, narrative storyline for a region or something like that, they're going to find their way to make it happen.
Right. And to pile on, if we're going to pile on the committee real quick before they start
Come on now.
Doing this, the reason
we got to pile on them.
Yeah. The reason we know it's about ratings and TV ratings and money is because who's making the selections? What are those people's job titles? All those people benefit directly from TV ratings. So why do we have them in there? They have no business being in there. They're not football guys. Obviously, they're not. I mean, yes, BYU got their teeth kicked in yesterday, but BYU's resume deserved to be in a top 12 team going into conference championship week. And if they truly clean the slate, they should be, considered one of them. Lance and Tyler, I know y'all consider them the vampires of college football. And I think the state finally got driven through their heart. If they had any chance, it was going to be to win this weekend, which was absurd to me a little bit, in my opinion. But yeah, you want to talk about the biggest gripe I have with the College Football Playoff Committee is just they're all ADs. So they're sitting ADs, they're acting ADs. Like it doesn't make any sense to me because I don't know if people realize when a conference gets a representative at the table, the College Football Playoff table, they get money. The whole conference gets money. They share that money. So of course they're going to prop up their people. Of course they are. Oh, never mind. Molly McGrath is sitting in Durham, North Carolina. Molly, I don't know what you did.
Is wasting her time.
She was already last night at the ACC championship game, so I think she just swung on over and said, "Hey, I'm already in the region. Don't pay for a flight. I'll just go there because."
Marty Smith is in Alabama. I wonder if he's going to get to talk to Kalen DeBoer or if he's going to get left at the altar like he was with Lane Kiffin all day.
Did he drive off road to get to the Alabama facilities? How was the loaf of bread van doing?
What an unbelievable story that was, man.
That
day was such a clown. That day was such a clown show.
He's the GOAT. I think he put himself in the GOAT conversation by doing that. But yes, it is a clown show. Lots of lies coming out over there. If you want to pile on to somebody.
I do appreciate Kirk Herbstreit coming out and saying, like, we need to get rid of these weekly ranking shows because they're not giving any sort of justification any single week. It flip-flops all the time. You can go back every single year, and I've always had the opinion that they rank the teams and then determine the justification afterwards.
Yes.
That let me figure out how I want to rank these teams, and then I can figure out my strength of schedule, my metric. I mean, a couple of years ago when Michigan State was in the top 10, they had Michigan ahead of Michigan State, even though Michigan State beat them. And it was the Kenneth Walker year, and they were using all sorts of metrics. It didn't matter, but I
have a question for y'all. Speaking of that, because I've had a lot of people ask me this in the last since Alabama got beat yesterday. Do you think that if we only had this ranking today, like we did not have all the previous rankings each week, do you think that Alabama would absolutely be left out? Because there would be no argument of, well, they were in the playoff field going into the conference championship game. They can't be left out because they were in the playoff field going into their SEC championship game. They can't be jumped by somebody that was sitting at home not playing in a conference championship game. If they didn't have the rankings going into this, what do you think because that argument would not be presented?
Well, if you look at the 3 2-loss teams, I'm not counting Alabama as a 3-loss team because they lost in their conference championship game. If you look at Alabama, you look at Notre Dame, you look at Miami. Miami does not deserve to be in the conversation. They really don't. They lost to SMU and they lost to Louisville. Both those teams are not ranked. Both those teams play almost zero defense. Both those teams have just been dumpster fires as well. Neither one of them played in the conference championship game. Yes, Alabama has the worst loss of the 3, but they also have the best schedule and the best resume. So I think that kind of trumps out the bad first game loss. Then you look at Notre Dame. If you want to hang your hat on bad losses, that's the team to do it. Or excuse me, good losses, that's the team to do it. They lost to 2 top teams, top 15 teams by a combined 4 points. So you talk about, Notre Dame didn't really play anybody. Their signature win would probably be USC, but their losses are to 2 extremely good football teams by, again, a combined 4 points. 1 against Texas A&M, 3 against Miami. And Nick Saban gets on there and talks about how Notre Dame spanked Miami in that game. And I don't think he remembers it took a game-winning field goal with a minute left on the clock for Notre Dame to win that game. So Miami is a very good football team, but they don't deserve it out of the 3. That's just my opinion.
So what? So I by the way, Will, I've always loved you, man, but I love you even more now. Always, Moots.
You would make his MySpace top 8 friends.
Absolutely.
You would. Hey, milk. That's a milk cheers.
Absolutely. Just a couple Southern boys that a Southern boy at heart, man. I love it. So I agree with you because the answer that you just gave is what they actually should be using today. Who has a better resume?
Right. And
that's the answer. That's the answer that you just summed up. Was that if they if they did the rankings just today, who has the better resume overall across their entire body of work? Not just looking at what happened yesterday, but we'll look at what happened the entire season. Who you beat, your wins, your losses, yes. Strength of record, strength of schedule, all that stuff. All that should be taken into account.
I think they're getting ready to start here, but real quick before they get started, would you rank, we're going to go to each one of you, Miami or Notre Dame? Who would you rank higher? Does the head-to-head matter, or would you go with Notre Dame? Trey, Notre Dame or Miami?
I would go Miami just because I think head-to-head should matter. I think that we're playing a sport and we're keeping score and we have winners and losers. And I love computer rankings. I love nerding out about them, but at the end of the day, we got to decide it on the field.
Tyler.
Oh, man.
It's hitting you right in the heart, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a tough one. I would put Notre Dame ahead of them. I know the head-to-head's there. I just believe that Notre Dame's playing better at the end of the season. And yeah, you can't ignore the losses that Miami has. And we've had Notre Dame ahead of Miami all along in our rankings. So I'm going to stick with that.
Lance.
I would have Notre Dame in. I know that head-to-head result happened week 1 of the year. I know it happened, but I still think it should be taken into account your entire body of work, and it can't just be looked at just that one game in a vacuum personally.
Will?
Yeah, the games do matter on the field, Trey. I agree with you 1,000%, but your other games on the field matter too. I think Notre Dame has separated themselves enough to not have it come down to head-to-head. I don't think they should be as close as they are in the rankings currently anyway. I don't think Miami is a very complete football team, and I think Notre Dame is a very complete football team. Yes, Miami beat them, but I think they've done enough resume-wise to separate themselves to not have it come down to what happened on their playing field.
Am I allowed to be a congressman and just vote present? Look, for me, I don't really want either team as a team to make it just on what they are, right? I think if you're going to go just like, okay, well, head-to-head has to matter, then yeah, it's got to be Miami because they got the same schedule. Miami's got some stupid losses on there that makes them look dumb. But to me, that kind of goes back to my bigger point about what the playoff is. The playoff's just supposed to find the best team in the country. You don't care about the other 11 necessarily. You just need to make sure you get the number one, right? That was the big issue a couple years ago when you had the whole, Florida State getting left out. It was like you could have made the case that Florida State a few years ago was the best team in the country. They got left out because of stupid reasons. That's why they expanded the playoff, was to make sure they got the best team. If you're around that cut line and the 4-5 back then, you might have had like a real case to be that team. If you're that cut line with 12 and you're like, no, I'm actually the 12th best, or no, I'm actually number 13. Like, I don't even want to listen to that conversation. Neither Notre Dame or Miami are the best team in the country. One of them will probably get in, and maybe they make a run, maybe they go win a couple of games. They haven't shown me so far that either of those teams are the best team in the country. So, gun to my head, if I had to pick one, it's Miami. But I'm throwing up while I'm doing it because I don't think either team has shown it.
I'll say this too.
To that point, Garrett.
Yeah. Go ahead, Trey.
Okay. I think you're absolutely right, Garrett, because like all three of these fan bases, 2 of them are getting in, right? And one is going to be left home. And whatever one that is going to raise hell online. They're going to want to burn the whole system down. They're going to want to change it because they got left out. But the proper way of looking at this, right, is that all 3 of them have a reason to be left out. If you're Notre Dame, don't start the year 0-2, right? Yes. If you're Miami, don't lose, like you said, Moose, I think it was, to SMU and Louisville. You have no business losing to either of those teams. And if you're Alabama, don't lose to Florida State. And none of this is even remotely happening if you just take care of your own business. So,
Trey, that is the exact reason why we do not need to expand this playoff anymore.
Exactly.
We don't need to go to 16, 18, whatever. We're already debating 2 or 3 lost teams to make this. And no offense, if you lose 3 losses, are you really that good to justify that you are one of the top teams? Yes, Alabama lost their 3rd in the conference championship game. They lost 2 other games earlier. If you're truly trying to find the best team, if we start debating the best 3 lost teams in a regular season, I'm not sure that we're actually getting to the bottom of it. We're just trying to add more teams. Yeah,
and I want to say this too. There's one of those 3 programs that would actually get the playoff changed if they don't make it in, and it's Alabama. If Miami and Notre Dame get in and Alabama does not, we will have a 16-team playoff sooner rather than later.
Hey, we got 24 coming here if the Big Ten gets their way.
Yeah. And if Notre Dame and Miami, one of those two get left out, we will have a 12-team playoff as long as the committee wants it to be that way, or the NCAA, excuse me. So I really believe Alabama would be the one to change it.
And hey, to be the complete renegade of the group here, I'll raise my hand for it. If you subscribe to conspiracy theories, all the people that keep saying that these commissioners will lose their minds and they do not want this conference championship game to go away. These networks don't want the conference championship game to go away. If the
Conference championship tournaments
game goes away, what happens? I think you're going to see play-in games, more excitement, more interest created around the sport, but most importantly, more money.
Well, it's like Vandy trying to put together a game this past week. Imagine if Vandy and Utah played this past weekend on a whim.
Yeah,
I would have loved that.
It would have been awesome.
Play in Serbia. They have to play in Serbia.
Again, that's my point. The amount of millions of dollars that these networks, these conferences, these teams would make if they had play-in games in each conference. Like if you would have had Texas versus whoever this weekend in the SEC and Ole Miss versus whoever in the games and Alabama versus whoever, that's that many more games that would have taken place on conference championship weekend, and they would have been playing games to decide who get in. And that's
imagine if Vandy and Miami played this past weekend and one of these teams dominated. All of a sudden, people would be saying, hey, maybe we do need to consider that team and that other one's out.
Yeah. I don't know what format they would use for play-in games, but point being is I don't necessarily think that it's like 100% concrete that these conference commissioners and these TV networks just flat out just want to keep the one game when the alternative is, hell, let's just play 6 more games in each conference on this week.
It's going to be hilarious. It's going to be hilarious because what they're going to do is they're going to regionalize the conferences and make divisions, and we're going to have our old conferences back, and that's how you're going to get into your conference championship game. It's hilarious.
Give me a Big 10 with 10 teams and a Big 12 with 12 teams.
Can we get the ACC team with a conference with teams on the Atlantic coast?
Well, if you go far enough east, Stanford is on the East Coast.
Yeah, and you know what, Missouri is in the Southeast, right? Is Kentucky even in the Southeast? I mean, I know I make fun of Missouri, but Kentucky's not even technically in the Southeast.
Hey, Moose, I'm right smack dab in the middle of SEC country here in
that's right, Missouri. Yeah, Missouri, the show me state.
That's right.
Show me where you're in the SEC. Looks like they're getting ready to get started finally. They love to draw this stupid show out. I'm so tired of them taking a half an hour to talk about the reporters. Just
who do we think JMU will be playing?
Oregon.
Will there be snow there? Because I'm worried for this player safety that JMU fans might be throwing snowballs at the Oregon corner.
Here we go. The
Indiana.
Hoosiers.
Hoosiers are one.
Number
Choose
one.
your express, baby. Hey, that's some milk cheers, Garrett. That's some milk cheers.
Do we think Ohio State or Georgia is it too?
I think it's going to be Georgia.
I do too.
I think you have to at least reward that win over Alabama in the SEC championship game. I know only 3-point loss, but
if Georgia doesn't move up and Alabama falls out, that would be just
hilarious. I mean, terrible. Conference championship should be like extra credit. You either get the boost or you don't get anything.
So I'm assuming they're just going 1 through whatever. That's the order they're going to go in.
I think they'll probably do.
They'll release the dramatic spots latest.
Ohio State.
Wow!
Oh wow!
Wow!
You guys are all ahead of State.
Alabama might be out, guys. I think that might be tipping their hand.
Okay, I was not expecting that. I for sure thought they were going to put Georgia at 2.
And Jake, I would actually love to hear your take. I completely disagree with that.
I just said I thought Georgia would be at 2. I thought Georgia should be 2.
Hey, Trey.
But you could say that you think they will be there, but should they?
I think you have to reward a conference champion, the SEC champion. I think you have to reward that. Georgia honestly played a tougher schedule than Ohio State.
Hey, guys, to Trey's point, is saying they think they tipped their hand and maybe Alabama's out because of that. Or maybe the flip side of that is they're not punishing Ohio State for losing their conference championship.
Yeah.
Could be. Look
at that tinfoil hat. That tinfoil hat is nice and sturdy on that
head. Maybe that's the committee saying, like, hey, we didn't punish Ohio State for losing theirs. We didn't punish Alabama for losing their,
You rank them, then you figure out your justification. That's
Yeah,
how
exactly.
they do their.
Yeah.
That's how they do it.
No, we're talking order of release. I bet you though that it's just going to be most dramatic. So I bet you that 10 is the last one to fall.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
true. Good
Like,
point.
They're going to
Good
just
point,
do
Garrett.
it dramatic, right? They'll
Good
give
point.
us 1 through 4, and then they'll give us like 11 and 12, and then they'll count it down or something like that.
Yeah, that's a good
That's a
point.
no-
Georgia's
Cheers, Garrett.
officially
That's
number
no
3.
cheers.
I think we all expect that. Texas Tech, I think we're all expecting to be 4. I don't see anybody. There's no way Oregon is ahead of
Hey,
Texas.
Clemson at 10.
at Hammerhead,
Sign me
at
up.
Hammerhead, the bass or the base, whatever that is, on YouTube to say, can you show the pics live? We cannot because of I'm pretty sure it's like copyright. Like
We're
I'm,
trying to get shut
I'm working
down
on getting a visual representation up for you. Hammerhead.
Nice.
Just give me just a second.
Okay,
Trey,
so for those
Trey will
who
get
can't-
it up for you. That's
All
what
right,
he
for those
said.
that can't
That's right.
see, Indiana 1, Ohio State 2, Georgia 3 so far, and Texas Tech is 4. They just got announced at 4.
Nice. Hey, I got a question. Why is Texas Tech, Indiana, and Georgia gold and Ohio State gray? Yes, I know it's because they're conference champions, but I want to be cool and have a conspiracy theory too.
yeah, you want a conspiracy theory that you already solved.
I know
Already
the
solved your
answer. But do I
I didn't
really
solve
know
it.
the answer?
No, I didn't know that. We don't know that's the answer. I thought they would do like gold, bronze, silver. What's
What
fourth?
color would Clemson get?
Turquoise.
Hey, I'm
They
assuming.
belong deep in the
Hey,
sea.
Clemson and Penn State are playing in a bowl game just like we all thought they would before the season.
Yeah, that's right, baby. Actually,
We all thought that they would be facing off in December. We just didn't think it'd be in New York City.
Duke might have ruined that.
That's
I don't think they
unfortunate.
would though.
So I'm assuming that Oregon's going to be 5 here. Just looking out ahead, Oregon, Texas Tech in that next round will be a badass game. Fantastic.
There's no way Texas Tech loses to JMU, right?
No, or Oregon, you
You
mean?
mean Oregon?
Yeah. There's no way Oregon loses to Texas
No.
Tech, right?
Trey got it up.
Or my bad. Oregon loses JMU. Oregon is not losing to James Madison.
We lost Garrett though.
I still see Garrett.
Okay, my milk warrior. I need my milk warrior.
Yeah, we're good. I'm down here at the very, very bottom.
Oregon's at 5 officially.
Yep.
I like that. Oregon's had a great year.
Yeah, they have, and they're going to get DeCorian Moore and I think Gary Bryant Jr. and more back that they've been out in the last few weeks.
Oregon fans were rooting for it to be at 5 because they want that home playoff game. And honestly, Autzen for a home playoff game, could you imagine? I don't think they'll get the night game because it's a 5-12, but I think it's going to go nuts.
Now they
Yep.
could. They're going to go. They're going to go based off of watchability. But do you think they're going to do matchups like 12-5 and then 6-11?
I think they're going
6,
through the
7?
rank. So I
So
think
No,
Ole Miss stayed at 6, by the way. So there's the answer as far as what will they do with them in Texas A&M. Ole Miss stayed at 6.
There's your rematch with Georgia and Ole Miss.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, if Ole Miss wins, Tyler.
Yeah, they got to take down Tulane again, who they already beat
Again.
25-10.
I was going to say,
Again.
I was setting you up there, teeing you up for another rematch.
We're all
Tulane-
pulling
Tulane
for
already
all
played.
right.
Tulane's
Tulane's
already
gonna
played
play their
Ole Miss,
old
so-
schedule again. Tulane, Georgia.
Yep.
I just realized I'm the only one in this video that doesn't have a team in the playoff.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
Well,
Well,
don't
we
say
don't
that
know
yet.
if everybody's going to have a team in
Don't
the
say
playoff
that
yet.
yet.
Don't say
Yeah.
that
We
yet.
don't
Moose.
know if everybody's going to have a team
Don't
in
say
the
that
playoff.
yet, Moose.
There's no way Alabama doesn't make it in, right? I can't jinx it. There's no way. There's
Hey,
no
by the
way.
way, I may have to remove myself for a couple or mute my mic here in a minute.
Texas A&M at 7. A&M versus Ohio State potentially.
Yeah.
That could be a big game right there.
Mhm.
College Station North.
Gosh. Well, I don't know where
I
they
don't think
play.
you go
I-
north from Columbus to go
Miami.
to College Station.
No,
Miami.
yeah.
Yeah.
So whoever A&M ends up playing as the 10 seed, the winner of that game will play Ohio State. I'm assuming in the Rose Bowl, right?
No,
Well,
it'd be
Indiana might
Orange
get the
Bowl
Rose Bowl.
probably.
Oh,
gets the Rose
Indiana
Bowl.
will get the Rose Bowl.
Yeah.
Okay.
Indiana's probably going to get the Rose Bowl, is my guess.
Nice.
Big Ten champion. They're going to get the Rose Bowl. Yeah.
Yep. That's
I
awesome.
want Oklahoma Notre Dame so badly.
So do I.
I want
Me too,
Oklahoma
as an
Notre
A&M
Dame
fan.
so
Oklahoma
badly.
officially at 8. I think everything's kind of falling as if you just wanted to go straight how people expected without putting the tinfoil hat on. I don't think there's been any surprises other than Ohio State being 2. That's, I think, the only surprise so far.
Yeah.
right,
Here's where it gets
I don't-
interesting.
I don't think they're going to go 11 and 12 here, right? I don't even think they'll do 9.
I think
here.
so.
I still wish
if
You
they
got to
want
build
drama,
the
that's
suspense
what they
and
do.
show that Tulane is going to be, the 11 seed and JMU's going to be the 12 seed.
I think Georgia being the 3 seed is more of a travesty than Miami not making it.
Oh, they're showing resume comparisons right now with Alabama, Notre Dame, and Miami. So they may be.
They know what they're doing. Alabama's getting in. They know what they're doing.
They
Look
may
at the
be-
look at the order. Look at the
Yeah,
order.
in order.
You know the hats where the kids are picking them up, and there's always the hat theory. Is left a good hat on this one, or do you want to be in the middle?
Wait, you know what?
Which
guys?
one's getting left out?
I do have a team in the playoff. Yeah, I know this is a Clemson helmet. Yeah, I'm just gonna switch it this way.
Stupid helmet.
I'm just gonna switch it this way.
Oklahoma helmet.
We're an Oklahoma podcast now.
Alabama is at 9. They didn't drop them at all.
Oh,
Wow.
So the theory
Whoa.
of they did not drop Ohio State for losing their conference championship game. Didn't punish them, and they didn't punish Alabama for losing their conference championship game. So this is now a Miami and Notre Dame argument.
I think
Mario
it's Notre Dame.
Cristobal. Yeah,
I think
Mario
it's Notre
Cristobal will
Dame.
never beat the allegations. He's never making it.
I think this is Notre Dame. I do not think they will put Miami in the playoff.
Does
Whoa,
head-to-head
guys.
finally matter because they're back-to-back? That's the question.
I'm nervous.
What if you consider?
I'm nervous. I'm nervous for you, Tyler.
What if you consider Notre Dame a conference champion since they won to independent? They were the best independent team, and you can say, "Oh yeah, we don't need to put JMU in. We'll just put Notre Dame in as a conference champion."
That
Notre
is
Dame
one of the
faced off
takes of all
head-to-head.
time.
That's my tinfoil hat. I'm trying my best to get a conspiracy theory out there, and this is not working.
So we're setting
As
a
a fan, though, I would rather have Miami because I think Ohio State could beat Miami if somehow they beat A&M. Notre Dame and A&M, that matchup scares me. Like,
All right, here we go.
That scares me.
This is going to be Notre Dame. It has to be.
I think it's going to be Notre
And commercial.
Dame. Yeah, wouldn't shock me.
yeah, Ryan Seacrest right after this break.
If you text your votes in, maybe you can
Text your
That's
vote
right.
to 977. Yeah.
maybe you can help your case if you text your vote.
Rates may apply. I'm paying all the rates. I got you. Got you.
You heard
I got
it.
you, Tyler.
Will's rich.
Oh my!
Oh no!
Oh,
Wow.
No.
I cannot believe they put Miami in.
Wow!
Wow.
Hey, remember that time
Wow.
I said that? I think I spoke too soon.
I
Wow!
am stunned.
That's shocking.
I'm
that
not.
they
Head-to-head
put Miami
finally
in.
mattered because they were back-to-back, and that's what they're going to say
I feel
when they
I
interview
feel bad.
Belichick.
I feel real bad for my boy.
Yeah,
Mm.
Tyler, I'm right there with you. This is how I felt the first 3 weeks of the year.
I am just going to be very open and honest. I'm curious y'all's thoughts on this, Mister. Do y'all think that? I personally think Notre Dame is actually one of the 4 best.
I
teams
think
in
Notre
college
Dame's way
football.
better.
Yeah,
I think Notre
Yeah.
Dame is way better.
absolutely.
I agree.
I
Absolutely.
can speak to this as a person looking at it right now. Like, I threw my fan hat on because number one, I'm just pumped that my Aggies finally made it. I was terrified when they put Bama at 9 because I'm like, dang it, we got to go play Notre Dame again. They took us to the wire, and took a missed extra point for that game to end up going our way. I didn't want to play them again. If I'm being completely honest, I'd much rather play Miami. So yeah, I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
Bro, I am stunned.
This is how shocked I am. I'm scrambling to make a little Miami box for this graphic.
Just copy and paste the duck, the Oregon duck. We'll just say that's the Miami duck.
Okay, there you go.
Oh man,
It's
then
not technically
11
over
and
yet.
12 is Tulane and JMU. They're not going to do Duke, right? There's
Duke
no
and
chance.
No. If they do Duke, this is the dumbest playoff on the planet.
There's no way Duke makes it, right?
There should not be. I feel like they're
The
going to
ACC got a team in. I
They're
thought
gonna
the
put-
ACC was out.
I told y'all
probably
the ACC
that's-
was dominant. I tried to tell y'all the ACC is great. Y'all didn't listen to me. That's not what I said earlier. But
y'all know something that's really ironic. Y'all know something that's really ironic too. Our Twitter mentions right now for the last 24 hours have been just Alabama and Notre Dame fans going at each other. Well, me
They're
and
gonna keep
Tyler
going at
just
each
back and
other.
watch the world. Well, Tyler
Is
and I just
Miami
back
just
and watch
going to
the world
be
burn.
is Miami just going to be the meme of the kid pointing to himself after he got drafted on
Yeah.
on that
Me?
video?
Little sass, me.
Can't believe that they're actually in it. I am
Yeah, I'm
stunned.
stunned. Yeah, I'm stunned. Like I don't even know what to say right now.
Well,
So
let's break it
Virginia had
down
one
because
job. Tyler, if you
Miami.
should be mad at anybody, it's Virginia. Sorry, Tyler. I keep cutting you off.
No, it's okay. Miami and there's Tulane officially at 11, so we do get a rematch in the first round. Tulane and Ole Miss, but two new coaches. What's the case for Miami over Notre Dame? Because obviously the head-to-head is going to be
That's
what
it.
That's got to be it. That's
committee-
it.
That has to be it.
That's it. That's it. That it ends there, man.
And what's crazy is from that game forward, Notre Dame got way better, and Miami regressed completely. But if you look at I think the biggest thing Miami did to save their butts was take the belt to Pittsburgh last weekend. Last weekend. If they hadn't beat Pittsburgh the way they beat them, I think this is Notre Dame, no doubt. But I think that must have put them over the edge because that's the last thing you remember is them just taking Pittsburgh to the woodshed.
What I think's wild of all this too, that I don't think that anybody is like. So we're saying that nobody got punished for losing their conference championship game. One team did, obviously. BYU.
Yeah,
BYU is officially the 12th.
But they were out before.
Yeah, that's correct. But I'm saying they got punished and they dropped them and they moved Miami. They moved Miami ahead, and
yes.
then they made up their little metric that they got to make up, where they said, they'll say, well, now that these two teams are side by side, we're going to compare their resume.
Yeah. So
Which, if you really think
Notre
about it, that is so stupid.
Clemson will be the second team out, right?
Yeah,
I have one opinion.
Damn, man.
I'm kind of surprised that A&M is behind Ole Miss. Just honestly, I think A&M is a way better team than Ole Miss.
Yeah, I think A&M is better.
Absolutely.
I think A&M is better, but never mind. I'm completely forgetting about it. Never mind. I was about to say Ole Miss has the win on the road at Oklahoma, but I'm like, A&M went on the road and beat Notre Dame. Sorry.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
I would personally have had A&M at 6, Ole Miss at 7, not even factoring in any of the Lane Kiffin things. I just think A&M is a better team. I'm also kind of surprised they didn't do it just to avoid the rematch as well.
Well, and I think all the talk, there's been a lot of talk out of Austin about, not scheduling premier non-conference games because you're getting punished for it. But if you look at A&M's non-conference schedule versus Ole Miss's, I know the now trump card, I guess, the low IQ argument will be, well, Ole Miss beat a playoff team in their non-conference because they beat Tulane, and A&M didn't beat a playoff team because they beat Notre Dame, who didn't make it. But Ole Miss's premier non-conference games were Tulane and Washington State. So why did A&M schedule Notre Dame and risk a loss?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a very passionate argument on our show between Tyler and I, the whole non-conference and should you schedule them, should you not schedule them?
And I think you should, just to be clear. I want those games for college football, but
there's
got to be a reward for scheduling those games.
So officially the Power 4, SEC leads with 5 teams, Big 10 with 3, and the Big 12 and ACC with 1.
Yep.
So let's go through some of these one at a time, because now that we know, we couldn't sit here and talk about Notre Dame all day long. We could sit here and talk about why Notre Dame should have been in or why Notre Dame should have been out. But let's go through some of these. To me, the most intriguing matchup here is the A&M Miami game, because A&M obviously was on the skin of their teeth multiple times this year, loses to Texas. You have a Miami team that's playing better as of late, but also you have the Carson. Carson Beck is in there, and what kind of Carson Beck are you going to get in a playoff game in College Station? Nonetheless, this is not a neutral site game. They're going to be playing in College Station, which Garrett, Trey, I'm sure this is going to be a hostile environment for them.
Absolutely.
Trey,
I want to hear. Yeah,
first
off, what's your impressions on getting Miami? You talked about being thankful you didn't get Notre Dame. Is there things that excite you, concern you about this matchup?
Trey and Garrett, real quick, before y'all say that, I need y'all to send some merch to Tyler, because he's going to be the biggest Aggies fan on the planet for that game. So please send him some Texas A&M merch.
Homie, we got you. Don't worry, I got you, man.
Tyler's an honorary member of the cult until
That's
the
right.
first round is over.
Does he get to go at midnight and wear a costume and do all that
The midnight
He
mass
can put a
yell.
pumpkin on his head if he wants to. Like I
Yeah.
don't know if you guys have ever seen that, but yeah, he's all in as much as he wants to be. Yeah, I mean, Garrett said it earlier. The Notre Dame matchup is the one that I did not want because I do think that if you look at all the power rankings, they are a top 4 team in college football. The power ratings, not rankings, I should say. But the A&M Miami matchup, I'm not going to lie, guys. I have not really spent a lot of time thinking about it because some people had that out. I think Brett McMurphy had that this morning. Some people had it in their final projections this morning. I really thought it was going to be Alabama. So I had been spending a lot of time thinking through how does A&M match up with Alabama. I was kind of excited about the Alabama matchup personally, especially compared to Notre Dame, but I think A&M is going to be favored. The early line we see in the chat is apparently A&M 8.5. So that should tell you exactly how much difference the odds makers at least think between a team at the top of the SEC versus the middle of the ACC, I guess, if you look at the standings. So, yeah, I mean, Miami has not been good on the road in recent years. They have not been good other than the Notre Dame game this year in equal or somewhat close talent advantages. So, they're going to be up for this one. They're going to be ready to go, and they've got some talented athletes, but you got to think A&M has already played 2 or 3 teams at least that are equal to or better than Miami.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Garrett. Sorry.
The thing for me on this one is, too, if there's any weakness on A&M's defense, it's in stopping the explosive runs. So thank God we don't got to put Love back on that field against us because I don't know. They kind of went away from him a little bit in the second half in that game, and I don't know what it would look like to have to try to stop those guys again. That's not something I'm necessarily scared about with Miami. That's not like they're a terrible rush team, but not necessarily scared of them the same way I'm of a Notre Dame team who can definitely run. And, kind of go other side of that is I don't think that I'm scared of Carson Beck as a runner. So I don't think that's something I'm necessarily scared about in terms of matchup there. That's something that seems to have given Aggies more of a problem in the last few years is running quarterbacks who can really stretch that too. So
Garrett was getting ready to say, I love A&M's matchup against Miami because of what you just said there. A&M is so good at getting after the quarterback, getting tackles for a loss, sacking the quarterback, and the fact that Beck, we've seen what Beck is when he's under pressure. We've seen what he turns into when he's under pressure. And the fact that he's not extremely mobile, I think that's a good matchup for A&M. And something I was just thinking about too, what atmosphere has Miami played in this year that even pales in comparison to College Station in a friggin' playoff game?
And you say it, but I think, if I'm remembering this right, I think their first game outside the state of Florida was at SMU. Like that was like the first time they had to venture outside of their own state playing like not sunshine and, fantastic weather. And so you take that and you have to combine it with the fact that you got to remember the last game that A&M played was a very disappointing game on the road in Austin, having to lose that one to ruin your perfect season, dirt in your eye, all that stuff. But you go back before that, the last time A&M got to play a night game at home was against Florida. That was forever ago. They haven't had a night chance to get out there and get the stands rocking and get that night environment. If they get a chance at a night game, which I'd imagine is probably that game will probably be a night game, and then I'd imagine just for ratings, it would probably be the Bama Oklahoma, right? Like I don't think you put the other 2 games in the night slots, but you give us a chance at night, especially, it's going to be a crazy crowd. And you said it best when you're talking about Carson Beck. Like he's kind of the choke artist, right? Like he doesn't show up in the big moments, and so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, I would personally. I think with one game on Friday night and there's one game on Saturday night on that weekend, I would put Bama, Oklahoma, and A&M Miami as the night games, whichever order you want to put that in. And I hate to be this guy really quick, but my twin 2-year-olds are watching this live, and the wife just texted me and said, "Say hey to Brody and Blair." So, hey Brody, hey Blair. Glad you're watching Daddy here. You get to watch Daddy stress out on a college football playoff game here soon.
He was stressed for sure.
Yeah, I've got the official lines on FanDuel if you guys would like them.
Spit them out.
Okay, so I'll start with. Go ahead.
If Notre Dame would just join a conference, we would not be having this conversation right now. Because Notre Dame, whatever conference they would have played in, besides the Big Ten, maybe, if they were in the ACC like they were supposed to be, they win that game, and it's not even a question. It would have been Notre Dame versus Virginia. It'd be a bloodbath, and Notre Dame would be in.
Really quick, I don't mean to put him on the spot, but I'm going to give him an opportunity here if he wants. Tyler, tap that mic. Do you want to give us your thoughts before Trey does the lines?
I feel like we need to give him the floor.
Wellness check. Wellness check.
The floor is yours to say what you want.
Yeah, I haven't talked in 20 minutes. Yeah. So try my best to be as professional as possible here.
Let him have it. The committee was a professional.
No, committee sucks. Go ahead and give it.
Tyler. Don't let Dan and Tina hear you cuss, bro.
Yeah.
I'll find a beep. I can find a beep on here somewhere to blurb out any of your swearing.
Yeah, it's still trying to process it, obviously. Like Lance said last week, what will these two teams show you this past Saturday to show you that Miami should now jump over Notre Dame? The fact that I'm not going to pile on my buddy here, but they dropped SMU last year when they lost on a last-second 56-yard field goal to Clemson, dropped them a couple spots. And I texted him yesterday. I said, hey, no offense, Notre Dame fans here got to cheer for Alabama to get those cheeks clapped. And they did. And they don't move a single spot. That is infuriating to the rest of the country. And that people that's why they hate Alabama. That right there is why people hate Alabama. Because it seems as every single year the college football playoff happens, Bama benefits every single freaking time. Every single time. 2017. They're not playing at home. They're sitting on their butts, right? And Auburn and Wisconsin play. Wisconsin's 12-0. They lose. They drop. Bama benefits. They win the Natty. Every single time, it seems like they benefit. So I'm not going to go on a tirade about Alabama, but Notre Dame, again, yeah, like you guys said, they only have to blame themselves. I mean, they lost the first 2 games of the year. They lost on a Tyler Buckner hold, couldn't hold the ball right. Whether or not you want to say there was a holding call on the 4th down touchdown that A&M had, okay, sure, whatever.
Whoa.
There was the first 2. I mean, those are the first 2 starts.
What is a hold?
Chill out, Terry McCauley.
First 2 starts of their quarterback's career there. They only have themselves to blame for the play calling in the Miami game. They're not ever going to join a conference, so we can stop talking about that.
No,
Tyler, I do want to ask though, do you think this will affect how they schedule games going forward? Do they look at that ACC agreement? I know they won't join a conference, but do they look at that ACC agreement and say, hey, we literally just handed a spot to Miami? Because without that head-to-head, if Notre Dame's playing, I don't know, Iowa State or something the first week of the season and beats them, they're 11-1. Miami doesn't get the head-to-head win over Notre Dame. Do they look at the scheduling arrangement?
They might. I mean, that game is that was part of the ACC scheduling agreement. That wasn't a part of them going out of conference. So, I mean, I think they may look at it. They're in that deal till 2036. So they'd have to pay some exit money, just like any other ACC conference member would have to pay. Their schedule next year is cake compared to this year. And people they're going to talk all offseason about that, but Wisconsin and Michigan State, when they schedule those games, those teams are winning 9 games regularly. So teams can't control what happens when they're scheduling these games so far up. I mean, you look at their schedule coming up, they've got Alabama, they've got Florida, they've got Texas, they've got all these SEC schools. Here in a couple of years they play 3 or 4 SEC schools in 1 year, so they're trying to do their part, because I think they realize the ACC is a joke, and they're not, and obviously they got that deal with Clemson coming up where they're playing every single year for a dozen years or so they're trying to do their part.
The USC thing's also in flux right now too for Notre Dame.
So they're going to keep their traditional rivals, with Navy and Stanford and all that. They're going to keep their tradition with not playing FCS teams. So if you want to go with that point, I mean, they played 12 FBS opponents this year. Everyone always complains about them. Well, they don't complain about it anymore because, there's a lot of teams sitting at home this weekend. But they used to complain about Oh, they don't play in a conference championship. Okay, well, they play 12 FBS teams, same as everybody else. Everyone's got these FCS games scheduled in either September or November. So, let's talk about the games that actually matter. So, I don't know. Let me log off for a second.
Someone in the chat did say Miami's best win is versus an 8-4 Pitt team. That's actually not right. They beat Notre Dame. I don't know why. Miami's best win is definitely Notre Dame. It's not Pitt, not an 8-4.
Yeah. Someone just commented and said Georgia doesn't get any love for winning their conference championship game, and Alabama doesn't get any hate for getting their cheeks clapped in the conference championship game. That literally tells you the game didn't mean anything.
I don't think it's because Alabama beat Georgia in the regular season. Like, is that the justification that'll probably be used?
Again, we didn't hear what they had to say.
Not saying it's accurate, but I'm just saying that might be.
But by the way, I agree, like what Tyler just said, as far as like why. Honestly, like at this point, what are the huge meaning of these conference championship games other than we can say the rah shit about how like, yeah, these players, it's something they can go and like get a ring on their hand and they can play and whatnot. But as far as playoffs are concerned, if this is going to be the precedent going forward, I don't know what the conference championship games really matter as far as seeding is concerned in the playoffs. If this is what the precedent is going to be going forward, I don't understand. Like, if you lose them, you're not dropping them. If you win them, you don't move up. The only one I guess that benefited. The only one that benefited really was like the winner, obviously, of Indiana, Ohio State, because they were ranked 1 and 2 next to each other.
Well, they almost didn't though. They almost lost Fernando Mendoza and Omar Cooper. So I mean, you lose those two guys.
Yep.
Yeah, you won the conference championship. You get a bye. You get a bye in the Rose Bowl, but you're losing the next game.
Yeah, so and we didn't get to hear what the committee had to say, Trey, but like I did, you brought that up about the fact that, if you're an Alabama fan and if you're Alabama and you're sitting there saying, okay, they lost to Georgia, if that game would have been against anybody else in the SEC that Alabama had not already beaten, like Alabama beat Georgia in Athens already, I do think that was something they could pull out of their back pocket and say, well, yeah, they beat us. They killed us. We look terrible, but we also beat that team in Athens.
They just released the TV times. Oklahoma, Alabama is the December 19th, Friday, 8 p.m. game. The other night game is JMU, Oregon.
Oh, goodness.
What are we doing?
Who's the Friday night game?
The Friday night game is Bama and Oklahoma. And the Saturday night game is James Madison, Oregon.
I figured that would be the 3:30 or 4 o'clock because of the West Coast.
Time out. Is there a big NFL game on that Saturday night?
Probably.
That tinfoil hat is snug. Snug, Lance. Let me check it out.
They had to do it to us, Trey. They had to do it to us.
Trey,
they just hate the best environment.
Packers Bears is that night.
Trey, let's go through the spreads. I don't want to hear the spreads for all the games.
Yeah. I got. First of all, does anybody have a sponsor that would prevent us from using a sports book that initials are FD?
You can do whatever you want.
Cool.
Gosh, I wish.
I thought that was Tyler whimpering. I'm sorry, that was a dog.
No, that was my dog going nuts.
I wish, Trey.
All right, so here's our point spreads, guys. Alabama, Oklahoma. Alabama actually 1.5 point favorites on the road in Norman. Oregon and Ole Miss are big favorites over James Madison and Tulane. And then A&M opened at 4.5 over Miami, but it's already been bet down to 3.5. So interesting.
Give me that 3.5.
Well, a lot has changed in the past 30 minutes.
Give me that 3.5 all day long. So, where are the semifinal locations? I think Trey. You said that those were announced.
Yeah, I got locations. They put them up on the screen on the show that I still got up. So. Indiana will be in the Rose Bowl. That'll be obviously playing winner of Oklahoma, Alabama. Ohio State has the Cotton Bowl as the number 2. That'll play winner A&M, Miami. Personally, as an Aggie, that's the best draw we could have gotten.
Ohio State did this last year against Texas.
I know. If I was an Ohio State fan, I'd be screaming. I'm like, just send me to. Anywhere.
Give us any other one other than the home state for the other team.
Right.
So play on that field in Alaska that always goes viral every 3 months.
Yeah.
Cotton Bowl.
And then so then we got the Sugar Bowl for Georgia. And then Texas Tech will be in the Orange Bowl. And then The 1-4 matchup goes to the Peach Bowl. 2-3 is heading out to the Fiesta Bowl.
Nice.
That's
That
so
makes
dumb.
so much sense that if Ohio State wins, they go to the Fiesta Bowl. They have a second home there. They have their vacation home in Phoenix. It makes a ton of sense.
Right.
Do you think the
Well,
line
and they
dropped?
wanted to protect Ohio State from having to play Georgia in the Peach Bowl also. So that could be chalk there.
They at least thought of that one.
That's
Do you
so
think-
dumb, though, because they all year long I've heard that they are relying on history for these, not like geography. And so Rose Bowl I get with the Big Ten. You got to think that Texas Tech should be playing in the Cotton Bowl if history matters over
they say a lot of
geography.
things.
I'm surprised they didn't give Texas Tech the Cotton Bowl because realistically, like none of the other sites other than the Rose Bowl matter to Ohio State. You can give them Sugar, Cotton, or Orange Bowl. But I figured if you're going to give the 2 seed a little bit of benefit, you don't put it in the potential team's backyard. You put it in Miami where both of them have to travel then. It's not just in their backyard.
Going back to the lines, do you think Miami gained a point on Texas A&M because they saw the reaction that Miami had when they got in? Like, wow, that team's ready to play. So they gave them a point. That's what that has to be it.
Could be
they're
it.
fired up.
Could be. Could also be 11 a.m. Maybe night game was worth 1 point versus 11 a.m.
I know last year we were complaining about the slate in the first round. I think this slate has no intrigue outside of A&M and Miami and Oklahoma, Alabama. I think last year Boise State. Clemson and Texas. The 12-5. Like people were picking Clemson to win. And who was the 11 seed last year?
SMU.
SMU.
I mean, I don't know. They ended up getting their cheeks clapped, but they had a chance at some points. They just kept peeing down their leg. I think every matchup last year there was intrigue. Even the G5 representative when Penn State went to play Boise State had a chance. I mean, and they had a chance in the game. When you talk about JMU and Tulane, both of them do not have head coaches. They're playing Oregon and Ole Miss, which Ole Miss also does not have a head coach. But there's no intrigue in those games. Those are going to be the worst games on the planet. And if anything, they did this year to make sure we get the G5 representative out when we go to move forward. Because you punish a big brand like Notre Dame, and then you put 2 little tiny brands like JMU and Tulane. Now, I know that's disrespectful to them, but in comparison to a Notre Dame, an Alabama, a Miami, whatever, etc., what's going to move the needle? Let's be honest with ourselves. And when I go to watch Oregon and JMU, because I'm a sicko and I'm going to watch that game, I will not be mad if it's background or if I'm watching on my phone when my wife watches Hallmark that night, because it's going to be a blowout.
A wise man, Tyler Noe, once told me this week in a text. He said, we're all going to be sitting around arguing over like Notre Dame, Alabama, and Miami. And meanwhile, JMU and Tulane are going to be getting into this playoff like just no questions asked. They just get in.
All Virginia had to do was win. Tyler, if you should be mad at anybody, it's not yourself. It's Virginia.
I still wouldn't have liked Virginia in this playoff.
Me either.
I would have. They would have gotten.
We
They
know
would have
you
gotten destroyed too, but it would have been beautiful.
Well, I wonder, guys, if the change to conference championship week is not, maybe it's the play-in games, maybe it's the little mini tournament or whatever that's been thrown around, but I think the big change is going to be tiebreakers, don't you guys? Because there's no reason that every power conference's first tiebreaker should not be head-to-head, first of all, and then if it's still they didn't play each other, it should be CFP rankings.
Yep. The ACC is the biggest at fault for that. Who's everybody's favorite to win this whole thing?
I mean, I think you got to go one in the top 3.
I
have a hard time right now seeing it's not Ohio State, Indiana, or Georgia. I think A&M intrigues me because I think the high end of A&M could do it, but the low end of A&M could lose to Miami.
If you want to know the high end versus the low end of A&M, just go turn on the South Carolina game. You'll see both of those teams in the same game.
Guys, the low end of A&M lost to App State a couple years with me and Trey in attendance. I don't know what we're talking about. I know it's a different coaching staff and it's entirely different, but I'm just throwing it out there. And again, this is one of the things I wanted to say just as a fan for a second, where I put the fan hat on for a minute. I'm so thrilled that my team's actually in this position because, guys, I grew up watching like Dennis Franchione not be able to understand offense or running like, speed option short side of the field and all that. It was terrible growing up as a fan of this. So being in this position still feels unreal to me anyways. So it's challenging my expectations even as a fan, where I'm saying like, yeah, my team, I guess we're pretty good this year. We lost a game, I guess oh well. I still don't know how to process the fact that we're even in this position. I don't know if we're good or bad because we, just lost to Texas and I'm supposed to get triggered by that again, or if it's, hey, we went 11-1 and it was tiebreakers that kept us out of the conference championship game. It's a bizarre thing, but if you want to talk about A&M being on the up and the down, anything is possible for that A&M team. A&M could win the whole thing, go on some kind of crazy run like Ohio State did last year, where they get pissed off because they lost to their rival, or A&M could get bounced by like 40 in this first round. Like either thing is a possibility.
I really like
the game times for. I know the Rose Bowl is a certain time. Which game is New Year's Eve and the other? I know New
Year's Eve is the Cotton Bowl, Ohio State.
Are you? I have to sit here and potentially watch my kicker miss another kick on New Year's Eve at midnight.
At midnight,
you're gonna watch our kicker miss a kick. Come on,
I have watched my kicker miss so many big kicks over the last 5 years.
I think if it goes to overtime, if that game goes to overtime and it's A&M Ohio State, I don't think that we should play normal overtime. I think we should just do a soccer style field goal kickoff, and the first kicker that actually makes one can move on.
Ryan Day fights
the 30-yard line.
Mike Elko.
That might make it.
I want Ryan Day and Mike Elko to fight at midfield.
I could get behind that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
I don't think Ryan Day is a fighter, though. That's the thing. I don't think Ryan Day is the one to ball up his fist and go.
Does Mike Elko have? Well, if it's Lou Holtz, he is.
If it is Lou Holtz, he will throw hands with Lou Holtz.
So they got the Capital One Orange Bowl is noon on New Year's Day. That'll be whoever Texas Tech plays. Indiana's the Rose Bowl, 4 p.m. on New Year's Day. I'll be eating my Hoppin' John at that point. If you don't know what Hoppin' John is, you should get with it. Lance, Hoppin' John, South guy.
What? Nope.
Okay, Hoppin' John. Yeah, all right. Look it up. Down in the South on New Year's Day, you eat Hoppin' John, and what Hoppin' John is it's black-eyed peas, it's rice, it's collard greens, and it's ham. And you eat the rice. For good luck. Thank you, Garrett. That's a milk.
We just call in Texas. We just call that like black-eyed peas. And
I do know about that.
I know what you're talking about. I just never heard it called.
I did not know that was
my mom.
That
so here's the deal. My mom was raised by like the oldest woman that ever existed in Texas. I'm like, I got you.
She was probably friends with Hoppin' John.
It's probably. She took him to prom.
All-State Sugar Bowl. January 1st, 8 p.m. against Georgia. If we're picking favorites, Jake, is A&M your favorite? Is that what you're going with?
No, I think A&M is my sleeper out of these. I think if you take away, I think the top three, I think those are going to be the three betting favorites. I would sprinkle a little money on A&M because I think we saw last year none of the teams that got a bye advance. And it's going to be the same amount of layoff in theory between A&M and their first game and Ohio State and their first game, but then A&M will have played a week prior. I think we're going to see something similar where the teams that played, in the first round might have a little more pep in that step that first game. And I think A&M, it would not shock me in the least if they beat Ohio State because they're playing in Texas. We've seen the explosive capabilities of Marcel Reed. We saw Fernando Mendoza give Ohio State's defensive backs trouble last night. Marcel Reed is not as good of a quarterback, but I think their offense is more explosive than Indiana. I know you love Oklahoma. I don't think that they have it. If they win the first game, I think they're out. I don't think they can compete with Indiana. I think Alabama would give Indiana a much better fight than Oklahoma.
They don't have the offense. They can't. And now with John Mateer's hand being hurt like it was earlier in the year, their running game has been awful all year. So John Mateer is the best player on their offense, period. He's the best runner. He's the best thrower. And that's not good because he's not a good passer. So Oklahoma is going to win games by mucking the game up, making it as ugly as possible, and just making it a defensive battle. I don't think they're going to be able to do that twice. They might be able to beat Alabama again. If they make it to the next round, I think they get their their butts cut.
What do we think about Oregon? We haven't talked about Oregon at all so far. And Oregon is sitting there, and I'm looking at their path now, and all of a sudden I go, you've got James Madison. They're going to win that one. Texas Tech's going to be a dogfight.
I think
if they beat Texas Tech, you get a rematch with Indiana, and it's hard to beat the same team twice. Like, Oregon has actually a possible.
That was my like, if you want to call quote unquote sleeper, a team that's not in that top 3. I know Oregon is 5, so it's kind of a cop skill. Like I like Oregon's draw, man. I like Oregon's draw. I think Georgia got a decent. I know Georgia would have to probably they're going to play the winner of Texas A&M, Ohio State. But as far as that second round matchup that they would get, I like their matchup against Ole Miss.
I do too,
especially without Kiffin.
Yeah,
I like their matchup against Ole Miss there. But yeah, Oregon is the one for me that, again, last year they were the 1 seed going into the tournament. They got a bad draw, obviously getting the Buckeyes in the Rose Bowl. Now they're going to get back to Corian Moore, possibly Gary Bryant Jr. and other guys in this playoff.
Is Evan Stewart going to make it back?
Do what?
Is Evan Stewart going to make it back? There's been some rumblings that Evan Stewart might be able to play here in the playoff.
Yep, could be back. They're going to be healthier than they've been all year. And I mean, again, as far as Alabama's concerned, I think that they got, as far as the draw, I think they definitely would rather go play Oklahoma as opposed to going to College Station. I mean, Alabama lost a turnover battle 3-0 and still only lost and missed a field goal, a chip shot field goal, only lost by 2 points to Oklahoma a few weeks ago. I mean, as an Alabama fan, I'm definitely glad we're playing Oklahoma as opposed to playing at A&M and College Station. So, and it's pick your poison if you happen to win that match. I don't think it's necessarily a win or lose if you're playing Ohio State or Indiana. That's 2 damn good football teams. It's the reason why they're 1 and 2. So, but yeah, I like Oregon's draw, man. I really do.
Yeah, they've got a good one.
Tyler, out of all of these, who would you pick as a sleeper here to, potentially make a run?
I mean, I think I got to go with Oregon. I mean, I got to go with Oregon too. Mm-hmm. Just A&M's matchup with Ohio State's going to be tough. Ole Miss doesn't have a coach. They didn't beat Georgia the first time with him. I know it was in Athens, but they didn't beat Georgia the first time.
And Georgia's better now too.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, Alabama might give Indiana a better game, but I don't think the way Indiana, if they play like they did last night, they're not going to lose to Oklahoma or Alabama. I mean, Alabama's offense isn't going to be able to do anything against Indiana's defense if they played like they did yesterday. So, yeah, I mean, Oregon gets JMU. They get a home game. Possibly, if they get up early in that game, rest the guys in the third and fourth quarter, at least the fourth quarter. And then they get Texas Tech, who, Texas Tech looks really, really good. But they are, if you want to go by biases and whatever, they played the Big 12. They have, out of all these teams, they have the worst strength of schedule of anybody. Yep. Out of all these teams. So they played BYU and they played Utah. Those are 2 good teams. They're not Oregon. So I just think that Oregon-Indiana semifinal will be really, really good. I kind of can't believe they didn't. I guess Georgia-Ohio State would have been 2-3 either way, and they would have had that matchup in the semifinal. I thought they would have tried to save a title game for possible SEC versus Big Ten, which you could still get if it's Indiana versus Georgia. I don't know how they would have done that with the result of last night, but I think obviously that was the goal. TV ratings is the goal. So, but I got to agree with Lance. You got to like Oregon's path.
What is Texas Tech's ceiling here? Because we saw them throughout the year. Their only loss came with Morton being out of the game. They've won every game where they've had their starting quarterback. This game against Oregon, obviously, assuming Oregon beats JMU, which I think we all believe is probably going to happen. What is Texas Tech's ceiling in this playoff?
I think Texas Tech. I mean, they could absolutely beat Oregon. Absolutely,
Yeah.
they can beat Oregon.
They're built to beat Oregon.
I'm not saying like I'll beat Oregon. You know, they're still playing a Big 12 champion, whatever. Like Texas Tech can absolutely beat Oregon. Texas Tech can absolutely beat Indiana. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I think
And you
Texas
know why?
Tech can play with anybody.
To add to that, you know why? The best thing that Texas Tech does is stop the run. And if Oregon cannot run the football, it's going to be a rough day. Dante Moore is a good quarterback. He's not a great quarterback. And if they can take away that running game, that three-headed monster that Oregon has, man, that could be ugly. That could be a fun game. I'm excited for that game. I'll tell you this too. I think Indiana got shafted with their draw. I mean, you're either going to play Oklahoma or Alabama. I mean, odds are you're probably going to play Alabama. That's the best team out of the the team that's not the top four. I would think A&M, but
I don't know if I would
think
say
Indiana got
Alabama's the
shafted.
best team outside the top four. I think Alabama has the most talent, possibly.
yes, that's what I mean. Like when you talk about, I don't know. I think Indiana's in a rough way. They're in a rough way with what their draw is.
I think Cincinnati loves that.
Yes,
That's true.
Alabama
That's
has
true.
the most. Alabama has the most potential of the teams because of their talent, but they haven't put it together. They haven't shown it that.
That's
They haven't
true.
shown it
You're
that.
looking at the names Alabama and Oklahoma, and you're like,
I
oh,
did.
You know,
You're
yeah.
right. How unbearable will Kurt Cincinnati be if he beats Ohio State, Michigan, Purdue, and Alabama in the same year?
I mean, he'll
Unbearable.
earn every right to talk after that.
Yeah.
Like everybody
we
after
live in
last night, everybody shut up about Indiana.
Yeah, do we live in a world where I had tons of all the group texts with the boys that are Alabama fans were texting me last night going, this Indiana team would kick our ass. That's the world we
You
live
might
in
get to
now.
see it in reality now.
Now they might get to see that in reality. Absolutely. I can promise you though, those texts will be much different if that matchup ends up happening going into it.
I will say though, it's different because they're on the road, and this comparison isn't going to be perfect one for one. But if y'all remember last year, Ohio State, everybody was picking Tennessee to win that game in Columbus, right? And Neyland North and all that stuff. And
30,000 fans came up to Columbus.
Fire
Ryan Day. There was the whole thing.
Yeah, all the home teams dominated.
Yeah, but then Ohio State figured it out, right? They used that time to regroup. Their offense looked completely different than what they showed on the field against Michigan, and it kickstarted a run. They kept it going against Oregon. They won a couple of defensive struggles against Texas and Notre Dame. When I look at Alabama, I still see the ceiling that they have, right? And I'm not saying that they can do exactly what Ohio State did, but it was an 8-9 game last year. That game in Columbus was, and they have to go on the road. They have to win in Norman and avenge a loss that they had earlier this year. But if they can do some soul searching over these couple of weeks and get the offense clicking like they've shown that they can at other points this season, then I don't know, man, maybe that's a similar thing to what Ohio State did last year. And that talent just finally figures it out.
And similar to Ohio State is Alabama can't run the football. Last year, Ohio State could not run the football until they got into the playoff. And they got into the playoff, and all of a sudden, it worked with a makeshift offensive line.
It's just like, honestly, the comparisons of March Madness now. Like when everybody, the myth of March Madness is everybody talks about, well, who's hot going into the tournament? Nope, it's who's hot in the tournament.
Yeah,
it's brand new. It's a brand new season. What you did previously doesn't matter at all anymore,
right.
And it only matters now what you do going forward. Alabama can literally just take that tape and take a sledgehammer to what they did yesterday and say, hey, it's a brand new season. It's all about moving forward now. Let's go win this damn thing.
Speaking of of Ohio State going on the run, who did they play before they went on the run?
Michigan.
Oh, should they credit Michigan for that national championship then? That might be a question for Jake.
Jake's
just trying to get me riled up today. I got no furnace.
I'm trying to give Tyler
out here trying to heat me up.
I'm trying to give Tyler some joy. All right, my man's down. He's hurting, and I gotta hurt somebody else.
Tyler, are you? Have you checked in any of the big Irish page, like our boy Driscoll, or any of their pages on X yet?
Nope.
Okay,
staying off social media.
Okay.
Hey, we're a basketball school, Tyler. We're basketball schools.
Yeah, it's basketball season now for
that's right, baby.
Notre Dame and Clemson. looking at these, obviously, let's talk about Tulane and Ole Miss for a second here, because I know we're all glazing over it, and we all think both teams are not going to have. Well, Tulane will have Sumrall at least for the game. Kiffin's obviously gone. Do you think not having Kiffin makes this game any bit more intriguing?
No.
No, I really don't. I mean, I am intrigued to see a little bit, like the people that cover the sport, like that actually are, like I remember Cole Kubelik on McElroy and Kubelik's show. Like, he obviously works for the SEC Network, gets to be a sideline reporter to a lot of the games. I've always been curious, like, does Kiffin call plays or does Charlie Weiss Jr. call the plays? Because, like, there's a mixed bag with that.
Yep.
There's a mixed bag with that. He has said on his show with McElroy and Kubelik many times that Charlie Weiss Jr. does call the plays, but Kiffin obviously has the ability to override it or make the little whistle blow to change the play out on the field, like during the game. We're going to find out. We're going to find out in this playoff how good Charlie Weiss Jr. is, because daddy, big brother, whatever you want to call him, Lane Kiffin's not looking over his shoulder anymore to change plays or help plays. So we'll see if Charlie Weiss Jr. really is the wizard that some people may think he is. If he's not, Tulane will not, I don't think, have a chance to win, but they could make it closer than what it was earlier in the season.
Who's Charlie Weiss related to?
Never heard of him.
Never heard of who's Charlie Weiss Jr. related to? Never heard of him.
Yeah,
Never heard of him. Is his dad important or something?
I don't. You know what, Tyler? Can you tell us? Because I think Tyler might actually have a team in the playoff now.
No, actually, you know what? Ole Miss might be my team. Ole Miss might be my team.
Ole Miss is the people's team with how they've been treated these past couple weeks.
Yeah.
That would be the funniest thing ever if Ole Miss won. Would it not?
That would be hilarious if they won.
Kiffin would use it in every recruiting video for LSU.
Oh, yeah, he would.
That's true.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
It's like those recruits that have national championship, in their edits, and they're at Oregon. It's like they have never won a title. Why is there a national championship? Did you borrow that?
Another one of my
before we
favorites
wrap up here, let's go through and see off the cuff who's going to make the championship here for each one. Like, we're going off the cuff here. Whoever you think is going to be in the championship. Lance, you're on the hot seat.
Ooh, I'm on the hot seat. All right. I'll take Georgia versus Oregon in the national championship game.
Okay. All right. Will?
Hold on. I'm going to make sure I get this right so I can have the matchups correct. I've got Georgia versus I want to say Indiana so bad. Oh, I can't. They can't. They won't play each other.
Georgia and Indiana would play each other in the championship.
Georgia and Indiana.
Okay. Tyler?
I think it's a rematch of the Big Ten championship. I think Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah, Lance stole mine. I was going to say Oregon, Georgia. I've been kind of looking over at this. I think Oregon's path is nice.
Oregon has a nice path. That Texas Tech game scares me for them, but I like Georgia to win their side of the bracket, and Indiana just really impressed me last night. So I'll go Georgia, Indiana.
I'm going to be a homer. I'm going to say Oregon and Ohio State there. I think Ohio State will figure something out. In Oregon, we talked about their path. If they can get that Texas Tech, a rematch versus Indiana, I think they'll be licking their chops trying to get that one again, and potentially, with what they might have coming back there and getting on a roll a little bit, I could see Oregon having that run like an Ohio State and just dominating some teams in front of them here. Well, guys, this has been awesome. I think we all, for the most part, had a good time. Sorry, Tyler. Sorry, Tyler. Everybody here,
it's the best.
I had on my fun last year.
It was a good run. It was a good run last year.
Yeah.
A lot of fun last year. You can check out our stuff at Walk-On Redshirts, social media for everywhere. Walk-On Redshirts. Lance, Tyler, if you guys want to talk about where you guys can get all your stuff for anybody that's not watching on your channel.
Go ahead, Tyler.
Yeah, you can follow us on X at Always Talk Ball, Instagram, TikTok. We're on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and we are at 3Tech Pod on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Make sure you're following along and follow all of us, please. Like, if you have not discovered all three of our shows and you're seeing one of them for the first time, like, make sure you're following all three, because we humbly think that we're putting out some really good content.
Yes. Go follow everybody. We all love to interact. we'll probably do something like this again here sometime soon. I know this was a lot of fun. We've been talking about doing this for a couple weeks, and I know we have some other ideas in the off season. That being said, we'll be back. Well, everybody will have their shows here coming up soon, and the playoffs here in 2 weeks or so.
Yep.
12
It'll
days,
be
baby.
great stuff. Can't wait to see it, and we'll see everybody again soon.